Olunaku olwaleero ekibiina ki National Unity Platform kitaddewo press conference esoose mu mwaka guno ku kitebe kyayo ekikulu Makerere Kavule. Bano ensonga enkulu oba essira basinze nnyo okuliteeka ku baana abaabuzibwawo. Bano bawandiikidde buli kitongole, bakoze buli kisoboka, bayise mu makubo gonna okusobola okununula abaana abaabuzibwawo. Naye n'okutuusa olunaku olwaleero tewali ripooti n'emu gye bali bafunye nti oba baleeteddwa mu kkooti oba bazziddwa famire zaabwe oba baweereddwa ab'ekibiina kya National Unity Platform. Tewaliiwo n'ekintu n'ekimu ekyakoleddwa. Beebuuza abantu baffe bali luddawa? Kubanga tukimanyi bulungi ne bannayuganda bakimanyi nti abantu bano abaabuzibwawo bali mu mikono gya gavumenti, kuba tewali muntu asobola kujja n'awamba muntu nga tali mu gavumenti. Gavumenti n'abantu baayo be bawamba bannayuganda, naye bagezezzaako nnyo okubakubira enduulu okusobola okuddiza bannayuganda eri famire zaabwe. Naye bano bakyagaanye. Bagenze mu makooti ag'enjawulo, bawandiikidde buli muntu gwe basobola okutuukako ne gwe batasobola. Naye bano beesuuliddeyo gwa nnaggamba, tebalina kye boogera, tebalina wadde n'ekimu kye bakola. Balabika olubawa empapula ezo nga bazisuula mu kasasiro, tebafaayo eri bulamu bwa bannayuganda. Wano His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu wagambye tusituke tulwanirire eggwanga lyaffe. Bwe tunaatuula bagenda kusigala batuwamba, bagenda kuwamba bampambe. Ffenna bwe banaatuwamba abamu ne babatta. Eggwanga mulooza linaasigalawo litya? Museveni ekigendererwa ki kyakusaanyaawo bannayuganda asobole okuleeta Abanyarwanda abateeke muno. Emyaka egijja Uganda ebeere nga kitundu kya Rwanda nga tekyali Uganda, olw'okubanga tusaanyiziddwawo ffenna. Tulina okusitukiramu nga bukyali okusobola okuzza enfuga y'amateeka.
People power, our power, Mr. President and all comrade leaders, the leader of our front in Parliament and the rest of the leaders. I think that I'll just respond to the Wangadia question about the Human Rights Commission. Like we have repeatedly said, Mariam Wangadia seems to have a problem we don't understand, because you cannot be a leader, later on a chairperson of the Human Rights Commission, and you are behaving in that manner. First of all, the Uganda Human Rights Commission, as you all know, we filed a case indicating all our people who are missing. From some disappeared, of course, in 2019, 2020, 2021. And as you know, many of them are still missing up to now. You all recall that at first, Mariam Wangadia released a statement in which she said that our people did not have IDs and what. And we took all these documents to the Human Rights Commission. You remember, we went with all these people to file all those documents. Some had national IDs, others had passports and other documents. But up to now, the Human Rights Commission has never called those people to, investigate, to follow up. It is not up to Mariam Wangadia to say that we are no longer going to investigate these cases. The Constitution commands the Uganda Human Rights Commission. And Wangadia needs to understand that she is not the Uganda Human Rights Commission. The Uganda Human Rights Commission is an institution set up by the Constitution of Uganda, and so she cannot say that Tetugenda Bidamu, like she was saying. The law commands her to investigate. So we gave them all the other details regarding our missing persons, and it is our expectation that they will go on to tell us where these Ugandans went, because many of them were taken away by the military, by the police. At one point she said these people are non-existent. She said they are ghosts. And then in the next minute, she said that these people are abroad. So how can you say that people are ghosts, and then the next minute you say that they went to foreign countries, and the next minute you say the RDC of Kayunga parading a man who they said was Lukwago Martin. So that is to tell you that they are just a confused lot, because they are violating human rights with impunity. But we want to warn the Uganda Human Rights Commission generally, because Wangadia works with other commissioners. If Wangadia has decided to become what she has become, let the other commissioners speak out. Because if they do not, then they are also complicit in the abuse of human rights that is going on in this our country. Those people are taken to safe houses and subjected to torture and other all manner of things. So, Busonga ya Wangadya, nga bwennyonnyodde, twateekayo list y'abantu baffe bonna. Bwe basooka okufulumya alipoota yaabwe, bagamba nti bano abantu tebalina IDs, tebalina ki, newankubadde abamu baali babituteyo. Twava wano nga bwe mujjukira ne family z'abano abantu ne tubatwalira byonna byonna ebikwata ku bantu baffe abaabuzibwawo. Naye basebo ne banyabo ne wetwogerera olunaku lwaleero tebabayitanga okufindinga out oba okutubuulira ki ekyagenda mu maaso. Instead babatuukiriranga bababuuza mwagala ssente meka musobole okuva ku nsonga z'abantu bammwe. Kaakati oli bw'omutuukirira n'omubuuza nti gavumenti ekoyeyo ssente meka osirike, abamu nga bwe muze mulaba bagezaako okubayingiza biddiiru tibaveeyo bagambe nti NUP erimba. Naye abantu abo kubanga kituufu abantu babuzibwawo bakyagenda mu maaso n'okubanja abantu baabwe, naffe nga bwe tubayambako, era tetugenda kusirika mpaka era tukoola mwenna mwenna abali bannayuganda tugende mu maaso n'okubanja abantu baffe ababuzibwawo. Mwebale nnyo. Kale mwebale nnyo.
Thank you very much. Our able, eloquent Secretary General. Give him another hand applause for his espousing of these issues. Please allow me invite my boss, the party spokesperson, but most importantly now, the leader of government business of the National Unity Platform.
Thank you. Two things quickly. One is the question of missing persons and Mariam Wangadya. You see, before we closed off Parliament had resolved that there be a thorough inquiry into this issue. Now, the Uganda Human Rights Commission, meant to be at the forefront of that, its chairperson wants to confuse us. You see, you can be confused, but you should not try and confuse everybody. We are not that confused. You can't say one thing today and another thing tomorrow. So this is an issue, and I'm glad, Mr. President, a couple of my colleagues are here, members of Parliament. Others have not been able to make it. We have tasked them, we are handling the budget framework paper. So we have tasked them to keep forth. We want to encircle that whole process. As the opposition, we are going to produce our own budget. What we think, this is the budget that must run the country. Very critical things that are important to us. So as Kasaija Matia and whoever will be presenting their own budget, we are going to have our own budget as the opposition, which we think this is what works for the country. That instead of, for example, deploying a lot of money, buying military tankers and that kind of thing, can we pay our officers in uniform better? Can we build better housing for them, etc., etc.? That's just an example of the things that we must be able to focus on. But that's a discussion for another day. I was just emphasizing that it's good some of my colleagues are here. This is an issue that we have not dropped the ball about. We are picking it up as soon as Parliament resumes. In fact, some of us are even thinking, why don't we begin by pushing Mariam Wangadya out of office? Because if you do not know your job, then you're irrelevant. Sign out, let somebody else come in place. We had her predecessor who died, unfortunately, Honorable Maid Kagwa. He was a fairly sober man. He's somebody that would pick interest in issues of human rights violations and would try and follow up. This one has clearly showed her partisan nature. She keeps saying, you know, those things are lies, it is Chiwanyi, it doesn't exist, and so on. We think that she's incompetent, and we might choose to say that, you know what, let's first push her out and get somebody who is sober. You know, she has also complained a couple of times and said, I even fear my own commission meetings. Some of the people therein hold guns and that kind of thing. So we think that there's a problem with that commission, and we need to sort it out. But you can be sure we are going to start from where we stopped, because issues of human rights violations, people missing, it is important. We cannot keep quiet about these issues. The second issue is to do with the EC appointees. Yes, the discussion has been out there. and we have seen the people that have been appointed. You know, in the run-up to the last election, there were actually some electoral reforms that were passed. One of which, according to these people, a brilliant idea that dawned on them was to change the name of the Electoral Commission from Electoral Commission to Independent Electoral Commission. Because according to their thinking, that would make the Electoral Commission independent. Doesn't make sense. You see, when you're a thief, it doesn't matter even if we baptize you a new name and we call you innocent, you remain a thief, even when the name changes. So those reforms did not make sense. Now, according to the Constitution, whether the name is attached or not, the Electoral Commission is supposed to be independent, it is supposed to be non-partisan. Now you're bringing people who just participated in the most recent election, and you're bringing them to now be referees. How does that make sense? We are going to be on record, because it's important to be on record, that this is unacceptable, it cannot happen. As we raise our voices in Parliament, our hope is that the people of Uganda out there, you will raise your voices too. Because this is your process. And some who have been saying, so what happens to the electoral process and so on? An election is a process, it is not an event. An election does not happen at the time you are casting your ballot. No, the process begins now with the appointment of the referees.
And so we are saying, okay,